thoroughbred racehorse, Blushing E.T, was potentially worth millions. A disturbed and violent creature, dominated by fear and anguish.
I accepted the challenge. Looking back on it, I was probably crazy to accept the challenge. Because when I first took him to this place where I train the horses and there's a wall around, it's called a round pen. When I took him in there, he tried to kill me. When I went in the pen, here he comes with his teeth out and his feet flying, and he's trying to kill me. And fortunately, I had somebody near the door there that could open the door and let me out. And I made it out the door. I said, whoa, what are we going to do with this now? So I went and I saddled up my horse called Dooley. And I thought, maybe I can go in there on my horse and I can work with him. But the reason that I think he didn't attack me is that those guys that were mean to him, they were never mean to him from another horse. Now I was on a horse, I was a different animal, wasn't I? Huh? He knows I'm a human being, but I'm in a different place. And it didn't look like the same danger to him, I think. So he didn't attack me, and that was good. And I had a thing on his head that I could control him with, and I began to train him. And I trained him from Dooley, my horse. And he was getting better and better and better. And once I could control all of that and rub his head and tell him that I wouldn't hurt him, then I could get on the ground and work with him, which I did. He really became good with me. And he would come to me, boom, like this, and he'd put his nose there, and I would rub his head and walk away, and he would follow me everywhere I went. I'll tell you why he got so good so fast. That's the character that needs a friend. Huh? He needed a friend more than any horse in the world. Nobody had been his friend. And finally he found a friend. And boom, he went to me. I did a thing I call join up, which means I can walk away and he follows me. And it was a really good feeling to have this horse saying, I like you and you're all right. And then I went to the starting stall. Whoops, wait a minute, catch hold now. When he saw that starting stall, it was not good. He was going to kill me and kill the starting stall and anybody that was around. And I just had to be there for him, just be there and stroke him and say it's okay. And I built a special place where he couldn't throw himself on the ground that was narrow. It got wider out here and then it came down narrower and narrower, and he didn't throw himself down. And then we began to go through the gate. I called it a hallway system later. It was like fence panels, you know, and made like a hallway. And then he could go through the starting stalls without being claustrophobic. And then I put a jockey on and I could get him through the starting stall. It worked. And around we went, through the stall, through the stall, through the stall. And pretty soon then we could take the panels away and he would go through the stall. And then I sent him to the racetrack, Santa Anita. And at 7 o'clock we were on the racetrack. And I took him out there to the track and he looked around and he said, this is where they're going to kill me. This is the place that I hate. This is the same like the place I was in Florida. And oh my word, did I have a time. He almost got loose and everything came apart. So I had to come back home. And then I knew I had to take him from place to place and let him see the starting stalls in different places. So I went to different farms and different places and showed him the starting stalls. And then I went back to Santa Anita and it was okay. He then knew that he wasn't going to be hurt. So we sent him over to Hollywood Park and they entered him in a race. It was for horses that hadn't won a race before because he had never even been in a race before. First time to start. And he went in the starting gate and the jockey is on him and they opened the gate and it was a $50,000 race. The best horses in the world are in there, not the best horses in terms of being the big winners, but the best breeding in a maiden race. And he came out of the gate pretty good, and he was sitting in 4th position. And I thought, fantastic. If he can just go around there and finish the race, we'll be all right.
Blushing E.T. right there, 3 wide.
And then he was in 3rd place, and we had about a quarter of a mile left to run. And boom, he came on the outside and won the race. And he was a winner. And I was dying. I mean, I was just like falling over, because when I remember, it took me 80 days to get him through that training period. And my normal time with a horse like that is less than 8 days. For all these bad horses I work with all over the world. 8 days, maybe 3 or 4 days with a lot of horses. 80 days I worked with Blushing E.T. And can you imagine what I felt like when he was a winner at Hollywood Park in Los Angeles racing? It was huge.
In the winner's circle, winner of the first race, Blushing E.T. 3-year-old chestnut gelding by Blushing John.
And his second start was at Del Mar, another big track down by San Diego. And at Del Mar, he had to race with winners. He had to race now with the big boys, with the ones that had already proven to be winners.
Backside is Blushing E.T. and Priceless on a stranglehold in the 3rd. There's been no change all the way down the backstretch. It's still Naval Academy, but all his own way out here against the domestic quarter.
And again, he went in the gate. He broke with the rest of the horses.
And Blushing E.T. starts to draw clear.
And with about a quarter of a mile left to run, he went to the front, and he won by 5 lengths. That's about 10 feet. So he won by about 50 feet from the other horses. Then they took him to the east, and he was a successful racehorse for, I think, 2 seasons. And now he's retired, Blushing E.T. And I've seen him. I've seen him several times since he raced. And when I realized that he was banned from racing worldwide, when they sent him to me, you couldn't take him on a racetrack. He was banned from all tracks. What do you think the next step was? They would kill him. They would shoot him. They would petition and say that the veterinarians had to kill him because he was too dangerous. He would kill people. And he wasn't dangerous at all. He just wanted to be treated fairly. And I tell you, I'm sitting here tonight with a lot of Blushing E.T.s. A lot of them. Because I think many of you could say, you don't think you're treated fairly. By somebody. Because all of us, at one time or another, have been treated unfairly. And we've got to get over it, we've got to get by it, and we've got to say, this is my life. I'll choose my friends. I'll pick people that I know will help me, that will be loyal to me, that will help me be a success in life, not a failure. Not somebody who is angry at the world. Get over it. And when you say to me, yeah, man, but you know, you don't know about what I had to go through. A lot of kids say that to me all the time. Well, let me just tell you what I went through. I had 71 broken bones before I was 12 years of age. All from a father who wanted me to step in every track that he laid. I had 71 broken bones before the age of puberty, and not one cast was put on me. I went to the doctor twice, and I know that the doctor knew that it was my father that did it. I know it now. When I was a child, I didn't know it. But I've studied domestic violence. I've studied violence in the home. And I know now that the doctors knew how I got hurt. Oh, he got bucked off. The horse was dragging him, and he got tangled up in chains. That's why the chain marks all over him. Yeah, right. The doctor knew. And they would ship me off to my grandmother's, and I'd stay there for 2 or 3 months sometimes, healing up. And then I would come back. My father had a school, a riding school. And if the parents of the kids that went to that riding school knew that he was beating me up, they would stop sending their kids. So it was explained to me that I could never say it because we would lose our house. We would lose our business. We would be broke. So I went along with it. I never said anything to anybody. But what I'm telling you is, don't ever go along with it. If somebody is abusing you, if somebody's using domestic violence to try to change your behavioral pattern, you say it. You speak out. Appropriate behavior from adults is absolutely essential in your lives. And do you know why? Because each and every one of you is a precious human being. And each and every one of you is a blushing E.T. in one way or another. And each and every one of you need an appropriate friend. And I'm here to tell you that you're precious. And that if I had the time to work with each of you individually, you would be able to see quickly that there are good things in life waiting for you if you take advantage of them. The first one being an education. It's your education. It's not the education of your teachers. It's your education. It's not their classroom, it's your classroom. It's not their school, it's your school. And it's your life, and your education, and your future. Grab hold of it, and make the best of it. Man, when I was in school, if you told me I was going to be a best-selling author of 7 books, I'd have told you were crazy. I don't even like writing a term paper. And when the Queen of England said there has to be a book, I said, "Oh, Your Majesty, please let's do another video." And she said, "Videos go away. Books are forever. There has to be a book. You have to do this in a book." And how long do you think it took me to write my first book? 6 years. I started in 1990, and in 1996 they published my first book, and they told me it'll only sell 3,000 copies. And they were right, but that was the first day. And I didn't know it was going to sell so many copies. 5.6 million copies. I am a blessed human being. And who blessed me? The horses. The horses. They taught me that violence is never the answer. That violence is for the violator and not for the victim. Violence is for the violator and not for the victim. If you're being abused, if you're being hit, struck, yelled at, and remember that words can hurt as much as whips can, you speak out. I wish I'd have spoken out about my father much earlier. I could have helped him and myself too. The Queen didn't endorse me until I was 54 years of age, and she gave me another life. I'm 72 now, and that's 17 years later, and I've done more in the 17 years than I did in the first 54. So don't waste time. You got a life to live, go for it. I really appreciate the time that you've allowed me to come and talk with you, and it's my hope that each of you will gain something from this and realize that you're precious human beings with a future and all the potential in the world. Take advantage of it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.